The Disk Pokémon is the biggest mystery in Pokémon Scarlet and Pokémon Violet, but in this video I will present you with my thought process and with what I believe is a solution to this constant question mark that might very well explain every strange thing in the Paldea region. So hey, I'm not so ace trainer and what about the Disk Pokémon? Let's get into it. In order to start this on common ground, I think we have to establish one thing. The image we have of the Disk Pokémon is not a photo, but actually a drawing, a sketch. Heath was known for his writing, not for his sketching, which means that what we see there is Heath's description, most likely at the time, of what he found. His writings seem a bit more sober and tell us exactly what he saw there, a mysterious, brilliant disc. I wanted to start the video with that because what we see in the picture, the planets, the stars and the waves, it is most likely not really there, at least not physically there, as in not part of the physical disc. And so we have to talk about the drawing. I believe that Heath's description was given while overwhelmed by what he had seen. The Pokémon sketch feels like it is everything. It appears to be surrounded by the Terra crystals, which would make sense since we know the expedition found them. But then you have the sky symbolized by clouds, waves symbolizing the ocean, with even a ship sailing on them. You have mountains, you have space with planets and stars, and you have the thing that some people believe to be its face. I'm not quite sure about that part, to be honest. You have water, you have air, you have mountain/ground. I'd be inclined to say that this is just some kind of flame. The quote-unquote eye also looks to be like a ring to me. But I'll not say that it isn't 100% the legendary peeking out. And of course, you have the crown with the terrestrial symbol on top. It looks as if there is an opening in the big shell and the Disk Pokémon is somehow terrestrializing, or at least using that power and creating all those strange things. I think establishing this is very important. Heath describes the Pokémon as a disc, but he saw a lot more. And if he truly saw the things that are described in the sketch, he saw things he couldn't know about. And actually, that wasn't the only time it happened there. The Phantom Memory is another entry in the Scarlet and Violet books, where Heath talks about how he strayed far from the team and was later found unconscious with the memory of speaking with someone in an unfamiliar place, as if in a dream. With him, he had a page full of information that we see in the professor's lab, meaning that it wasn't just gibberish, it had some meaning, but he doesn't remember anything. So what can we learn from these two things? We learned that Heath was exposed to the power of the Disk Pokémon and that there is some unfamiliar place, likely not physically in the crater, that he went to and received information. Information about either how to extract the power from the Disk Pokémon from its scales or what they truly are. He received knowledge. For the past few games, the third legendary we were dealing with was basically connected to the general theme of the games. In Gen 7, there was a big emphasis on light, with day and night being treated in a special way, and the third legendary, Necrozma, was heavily related to light, being a prism and having a particular appetite for everything luminous. Then in Gen 8, we had a game centered around history and energy. How whole cities were powered by max energy, how the Galar gyms and League, something that brought together thousands of people, was closely related to power spots, and the third legendary, Eternatus, was the source of it all, and also what could end it by reabsorbing everything. Now in Paldea, we have a whole game centered around the setting of an academy, a place where you go in order to get knowledge. In fact, there is a saying, a very old saying, that goes, those seeking knowledge need look no further than the origins/graves of Paldea. So, in a game that has such a tight relationship with learning, with knowledge, I think the third legendary will know everything. A Pokémon that has an eternity recorded in it. Maybe even recorded through the face we so constantly see when we terrestrialize. So we have a legendary representing knowledge, which is very fitting since for a long time we used discs to record our own. But that explains where Heath got the information, not where he went in order to get that information, and that ends up being the craziest part. I think most of you already know about the use of the word Atlantis in the game's text files when referring to the dialogue in Area 0, and with that in mind, I went on a long road of reading about it, and yeah, it's pretty much what you expect. Lots of theories throughout history about it being real or not, many different locations, with some of them being close to the Azores archipelago or the Madeira Islands, part of Portugal, one of the inspirations for Paldea, as well as the Canary Islands, part of Spain, the other part of the region's inspiration. There was also some interesting thing about the myth possibly stemming from Egyptian Egyptian records of the Thera eruption, which sounds really close to Terra. But that wasn't what caught my mind. I knew I had to find something about knowledge. Atlantis is often talked about as a civilization that knew a lot more than other civilizations at the time. They were ancient yet futuristic, just like the concept of Scarlet and Violet. That is the myth, and so what caught my mind was a bit about the Akashic records. The Akashic records, according to Wikipedia, are a compendium of all universal events, thoughts, words, emotions, and intents ever to have occurred in the past, present, or future, in terms of all entities and life forms, not just human. Basically everything. Supposedly, it even includes everything about mythical Atlantis. There is no evidence for the actual existence of this concept, of course, though it doesn't matter in the Pokémon world, and it feels way too much like what we are seeing with the Disk Pokémon. And better yet, this connection offers us a place where Heath might have gone. All of those things mentioned above, all of those universal events, thoughts, words and emotions, are believed by experts in the field to be encoded in the non-physical plane of existence, known as the mental plane. Somewhere you might go and it will most likely feel like a dream, a place that has everything. To tie the whole concept together and all those things about imagination coming to life, here's what Alice A. Bailey, a writer that focuses on theosophical topics, wrote about this. The Akashic record is like an immense photographic film, registering all the desires and earth experience of our planet. Those who perceive it will see pictured thereon the life experiences of every human being since time began, the reactions to experience of the entire animal kingdom, the aggregation of the thought forms of a karmic nature based on desire of every human unit throughout time. Only a trained occultist can distinguish between actual experience and those astral pictures created by imagination and keen desire. A Pokémon that holds within itself every bit of knowledge, every desire, every thought and can manifest it. A Pokémon that either holds the passage to or is the actual different plane of existence, what is referred to as the mental plane in the Akashic records, but that we find in various mythologies throughout our history, various religions, some still prevalent to this day like the Maharloka in Hinduism. If the shell is hiding something, I can tell you, but it is entirely possible that the Pokémon is just that shell, holding everything inside. What I can give you is a possible name for the being. This part has a lot of speculation and a bit of obsession on my part, but in the sketch we can see some Pokémon World writing on top, 6 letters to be exact, just like the censored name in the professor's notes. This sent me on a huge trip throughout websites that try to decipher the Pokémon language ever since Galar. What I understood was that nothing was deciphered perfectly, since different letters seem to mean different things sometimes. Still, I tried, and in the end, by using the most suggested letters for each symbol, and trying not to repeat any letter, I got Neosar as being the name. But if I ignore the repeating part, the name could be Neoser. Neo from new and ser from the Portuguese and Spanish for being. So, New Being, named kinda like the Paradox Pokémon in a very straightforward way. Still, keep Neoser and Neosar in mind. I am sure one of those will be the name. So if you're still here, thank you so much for sticking around, and to summarize, the Disk Pokémon named either Neoser or Neosar is based on the Akashic records containing all the knowledge and events from the Pokémon world, being able to manifest them by using its power. Somehow it either contains or leads into a different plane of existence, one where I believe we will go in the DLC for Pokémon Scarlet and Pokémon Violet, and where we'll meet the professors as well as Heath, because while a person might die, you cannot kill an idea. And that is all I have for you today. This is definitely my biggest video to date, and I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed researching and making it. But what about you? How do you feel about the concept? Let me know in the comments down below. And now, like the video if you like it, dislike if you don't, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more Pokemon content, and also ring the bell so you know when the next video is out. You can follow me on social media and Twitch. I stream there Wednesday to Sunday, not Saturday, or join our Discord. All the links are in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.